My name is Gregg Williams. I figured I'd make a live Instagram or webcam thing telling about what I am and where I live. I live in Gillette, Pennsylvania. All this stuff with the world and all this right now, you're looking at the man that sat Mr. Gates into making the computer empire he basically built. I have blood cancer. I didn't know who my family was. I didn't know anything. I was adopted at the age of 1.5 in November of 1963. That's when my records were sealed. God came to me in 2004 and told me my blood cancer or unknown blood illness I had from the military was going to be controlled and it was going to be medically done. They were going to find out what it was. It wasn't going to kill me. It was going to be controlled. And it has been. My uncle that was in that adoption, because my actual father asked for information on me. So they appointed my uncle, which was related to me, which had to tell my father stuff of me by court order from 1963. He was in the military. He was in Japan's side of World War II as a diesel mechanic. After the nuclear bomb went off in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they did more tests. I have information that the cabal, Moloch, and Baal worshippers are using money that was got in that war from Luzon in the Philippines. And God gave me a book that had the information of where that was. My uncle gave it to me. It was in a mechanic's book that was for my family and the flooring of who I was. My father worked for Ranger Boat. Forrest Wood is a direct relation of mine. That's what my uncle told me when he gave me this book. Why I'm alive today, I talked to Mr. Gates in 1984 in the military bomb dump in Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. I was stationed there. I basically told Mr. Gates he had to redesign the IBM type computer operating system so a normal person can use it, and he had to use numbers and stuff, and the day I talked to him was only about 20-30 minutes at the most. The military had an IBM like type 8088 first gen. It was first out, and they sent the operating system creator, which was my MS-DOS. The man that wrote the manual was the man they sent with the computer. I thought he worked for IBM. I basically was hit with a car, injured, everything was done. They wanted me out. They said I didn't make a supervisor. They couldn't even figure out how to spell my first name or who was over me. They had to do the paperwork 4 times. Okay? They didn't know who I was. They didn't know how I worked. I wasn't part of the club. So they sent me away to work in the orderly room after I'd been injured. I needed my leg to recover. They said, we're going to send you TDY. You're going to drive this little truck all over, and you're going to answer to the head people of the bomb mill. I said, well, at least they're not throwing me out right now. I am going to get to serve my time out. That's what I thought. So I worked at a roller skating rink, and they stuck me behind the counter, and I literally was passing out roller skates, fixing roller skates. I'd try to skate on my own free time, but it hurt. It really hurt. My leg hurt. I was hit with a car on a bicycle. Well, I also hauled non-nuclear and nuclear munitions to where they were supposed to be put on planes. Some were not at Nellis. Some were down a long road that took hours to get to. That place made me sick. That's why I had blood cancer. That's what the VA told me, like after 30-some years of having it. Okay? That was all found out by a computer, by a number that was in the book that my uncle gave me. I basically asked him, what did this man have? This man had blood cancer. I about fainted when I heard that. I'm definitely dead. Then they said, hold the phone. This man is the first man that lived through it. He lived after having it. His blood is froze. We have his blood in like a freezer because he was the first one that made the breakthrough of cancer. There's some law and everything. We have where his information is. We have all the documentations on what was came out with was blood thinner. We were going to put you on that. We still, at this time, they still did not know this guy was my true uncle. My records were sealed. They just knew I was sick. They knew I was around later on something that stopped the test from showing what I had. I had an allergic reaction to a skin poison that literally was forced in through my blood from a fire I was around in 1987 after I left the military. In 2019, they came out and said, we're sorry we made you sick. Now, I'm going to tell you, in 84, this goes back to 84, one kid, I basically had just enough money to drive. I was like driving a car, trying to race. The man I helped with a turbocharged cycle, basically his wife said, you either quit, sell everything, or I'm divorcing. This was right after he won the 2003 championship. In the middle of 2004, they got me out of the service. So after I was hit in like September or October of 1983, when I was hit with a car, like September or October or something like that, because it was nearly warm all year round and that. Okay. They basically treated me, sent me through all the stuff. The guy that hit me, his insurance company paid like $4,000, and then they finally said, well, we can't say this actually helped you or whatever. We can't say your injury came from that because I was injured before in a trailer tongue accident to my knee. So they basically couldn't say that, so they gave me a lower payment, and that's what I bought a car with, and I bought some stuff to figure out I'm gonna just fix the car and go on dragways. And Gates came, in that time I was recovering, Gates came. I told him he had to change the way the computers were run. It wasn't my design with Windows, but Windows and all that, and all their data systems was all created to save my life. God had me do this. And this book my uncle gave me has what they're using, the CIA, the cabal, the people that are in charge of the world. This is going to be a real bummer. Look at 1 Kings 18, Elijah and the Baal worshippers. When Elijah, the one man, had 400 Baal worshippers, Baal, for the golden calf, the Jews were basically not worshiping God, the true God. So he called them all to Mount Carmel in Jerusalem, and they actually prayed to their God to light up the altar and the burnt offering and all that. And Elijah basically said, just bring pails of water, put on it. You know, that's the passage. He prayed to God, and God brought down fire from heaven and lit the altar and burned everything up. The people seen who real God was. The people rose up and killed the 400 Baal worshippers and threw Baal out of Israel. And that's in 1 Kings in the Old Testament. That's who we're fighting. And I believe that God wants me to confront the CIA, find out where this money went to, or if it's all used from the tunnels in Luzon that Yamashita took from people and hid before the military and the PI fell to the Allies. There was truckloads and truckloads of stuff, and one guy went to Luzon. It was all booby-trapped. I was a munitions person. I know about this stuff. That was my job. Okay, I'm not too smart, but that was my job. I did it right. That's funny. Mr. Oops that drops everything works on munitions. That's rifles and stuff. I still understand it. I don't know why, but I still do. My whole training was on cars. That's what one guy left me most of some of the stuff I had for rifles and stuff. My brother and I had a falling out. He took some money. He took some stuff that was actually left to me by my stepmom's uncle, and they literally didn't want me to have anything. They figured everything was his because he was their true son. He actually got in trouble over my mentally retarded sister. I figured I'd just write and tell you guys what really went on. I'm going to load this on YouTube, but I'm going to have it connected to Patreon so people can actually tell who I really am. My name's Gregg Williams.